I have here a Alcatel Pop Icon. This is a TELUS prepaid phone. However, it also has the frequencies of AWS, so you're able to unlock this phone and use it on T-Mobile. If you're in Canada, you can use Mobilicity and Wind as well. And the phone is $120. I picked it up from Best Buy on sale. So when you open it, you know, it's alright packaging, it's pre-packaged by TELUS, but when you open it here, don't expect for the phone to be here, so don't be surprised if it's there. If it's not, it's going to be in the back here. So everything is packed into the back. The packaging isn't the most exciting, but when you open it, be careful that everything will fall out. So you have your standard charger, standard USB cable, you have a 1 milliamp charger, instruction manual. So the reason the phone's not in the casing here is just that the fit, it's too big. The phone literally does not fit inside of, the size is way off, so it just doesn't fit inside, so they've tucked it into the back, okay? So let's look at the exterior of the phone. The exterior of the phone, you have the power on button here, you have the volume rocker, single speaker in the back, 5 megapixel camera here, and an LED flash as well as a microphone. On the bottom here you have your USB charging port as well as your microphone. On the top you have 3.5mm headphone jack, and on the right hand side you have nothing. So turning on this phone, you kind of get this cool little animation that works with the accelerometer. So it bounces around a little. Let's turn this back on. Okay. The screen is 960 by 540 resolution. It's pretty responsive. There are some comments from people that the touchscreen wasn't very responsive. You have to pull off the film on the top there and the screen gets a little more responsive. I would say it's definitely more responsive than a capacitive touchscreen, than a resistive touchscreen, but not as responsive as say a higher quality phone like the S2 here. So if I were to use the S2, definitely a little more responsive, a little bit faster, whereas with the Alcatel it feels a little more sluggish. I actually have to push a little bit harder for the screen to respond to my touch. Okay, let's test out the speakers on this thing. Actually, yeah, let's test out the speakers. So the speakers on this are alright. They're nothing amazing, but they are pretty loud.
Bo do bleep, bo bo geep, bo dwa da do da dwa ma.
So if I were to compare it to the HTC One M7, the volume is about as loud. The speaker quality is definitely much different.
Bo bo geep, bo dwa da do da dwa ma.
So you get a little bit more bass on the HTC M7. Okay, the camera on this is a standard 5 megapixel camera. The focus on it is not too bad, so okay, so it's an alright camera. The quality is definitely not up to par with other high-end phones, but again, this is not a high-end phone, so you can't really expect too much out of it. Games, I haven't tried anything too intensive. You do have 1 GB of RAM here, so you wouldn't expect that you get too quick of you wouldn't be able to multitask very well with this, but let's see how it works. Playing something like Temple Run I don't think is too difficult for many phones these days. It runs pretty smoothly, the graphics are alright, so I would say yeah, it's not bad. It's pretty good for casual gaming, but I probably wouldn't play anything too graphically intensive on this. So who's this for? I think that this is probably for your average user, for your parents, maybe for you know, a student, someone who's not a power user. They're just going to use this phone to make phone calls, text messages, check Facebook, things like that. For power users, I'd say that you know, this would probably be a good backup phone. You're not going to be using this. It wouldn't be my daily use phone. I find it a little bit sluggish, but you know, I'm probably going to give this to my parents. Probably give it to my mom. It'll be a good phone for her. The battery life seems to be alright so far. I've only used it for a couple of hours now, but it's not too bad. So for those of you who are wondering about the speed of this thing here, I've checked the AnTuTu benchmarks. You get an overall score of 151.28, which is not bad. Okay, if you have any questions, feel free to write them into the comments of this video, and I will respond as soon as I can.